Hello everyone, my name is Mustafa Mohammed Butchery, and in today's tutorial we are continuing from where we left off. So today we are actually going to see how we can make a put request, okay, to update the information inside the database. And like I mentioned earlier, as a developer you must have some empathy towards other developers that might be using your API services, okay. So like I said, some people might be sending information using JSON, okay, and others might be sending it using a form data, okay. So you must take into account these kind of people when you're developing, for instance, your API, okay. So to proceed, we're actually going to look at put, which would enable us to send a JSON data, okay, and then later on we'll look at post, which will enable us to send a form data. So come down here and say elif if the request method is, for instance, put, okay. If the request method is, for instance, put, we'll still do the same thing. Reporter is equal to that, but then we'll call our body is equal to JSON dot loads, and it will pass the body in there, okay. And then we'll call the reporter form goes to reporter form, and they'll pass the body, and then we'll check if the data that has been submitted to us is a valid data, okay. So we'll check. So if, for instance, I actually don't need to leave so much space, so if the reporter form is valid, we want to do something, okay. So what do we want to do? So say reporter, and then for instance the full name goes to the reporter form, the clean data, and then the full name. And then for instance reporter dot email goes to the reporter form dot clean data, the email. Then we save it. So we do reporter dot save, okay. They'll return, for instance, the information that we got from the user, okay. So data, we do this. Else we'll do our usual error message goes to the reporter form, and then we'll return JSON. I'll just do, for instance, error goes to message, okay. So if I save this, and for instance let's make a put request to the ID of what, of 1, okay, and I'm going to change the name, okay. So let me add a 1, and let's make this a put request, and this is going to be a JSON. So the full name is going to be, for instance, Mustafa, and then for instance my surname, and then the email will remain the same as my email, okay. So if I make this request, we get that. Now if I go back and then for instance I make a get request for that same data that has been changed, okay. So we've successfully handled the put request, okay. So let's make the same thing for the get request, okay. So I said a get request, the post request, okay. So elif if the request method is post. We'll do reporter form, goes to reporter, which goes to request.post. Okay, and actually let's get a reporter over here. So reporter goes to get object that. Great. So do if, for instance, reporter form is valid, we'll do the same thing. Reporter full name goes to clean data full name, and then the reporter dot email also goes to the same thing. And then when we are done, we just save the information that we have. Okay, and then we'll return JSON.reporter form data. Else we'll just do the same thing. Message goes to error message, and then we'll return JSON. Error goes to the message. So if we save this, for instance, and then we know that for the item of 3, the information over there is Emirates. Okay, so for instance, let's say I want to change the name to, let's say, Emirates Maki. Okay, Emirates Maki, and this goes to, for instance, m@emirates.com. So if we send this, we get that. Now if we get all the information inside our database, we have everything. Sorry, I was supposed to make a post request. Sorry, so it goes to 3. I'm supposed to make a post request to change this. Okay, so let's make that post request. We get that. Now let's quickly make a get to get everything inside our database. Realize that the first ID, the full name was changed, and over here too, the full name has been changed. Okay, so this is a simple way that you can create, a simple REST API in Django. Okay, and this is the end of the series. In the next series that I'm actually going to create, we'll look at how we can work with, for instance, foreign keys. Okay, and then when we are done with that, we'll also look at how we can work with, for instance, authentication. Okay, how we can authenticate users in Django. Okay, so thank you for having the patience to watch this entire series. I hope it's helpful to you, and I hope you implement it in your Django application. So thank you, and I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye bye.